idea for now is to speak of complete and proper nutrition. So we can see, as we know, there are some principles which are universal in any sphere of life, including the health, and the nutrition is an important part of human health. And after there is individualizing, so we're gonna speak about what is universal, what we can advise to any human being about nutrition, and then it needs to be individualized, but this, let's say, big percentage of the adequate part of nutrition. So first, to introduce, I want to share with you one song of one of my personal friends, which I really admire. This song is, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago he registered it, but this is a little song which is nice, funny, and also it's a good introduction into healthy regime and nutrition. And so meet my friend El Frigano.
Раз, два, три, нова песен в главата ми взе да се върти, но вместо микрофон ръката ми банан държи. Сещаш се, нали, сега ще ти пее за здравословните храни, за моето меню и вригам физкултурата, но най-напред ще започна с една. Ставете на страна животинската храна, да живее свободно, да се радва на света. И този акт на състрадание ще постигнем просветление за своето съзнание. Дзън, дзън, будилникът звъни, време е да започнем сутрешните игри. Първо устна хигиена и 2-3 чаши вода, после във вецето друсам душата, понякога се къпя със студена вода и правя чаланети да изчистя носа. Сядам на земята с кръстосани крака, дзен, медитация фокусираща ума. После малко йога, асан и прана яма, и накрая се стига до закуската голяма. Моноястия от цели пресни плодове, 1 килограм и съм на седмото небе. Храната локална, да бъде в сезон, но обичам да бере и от тропическия клон. Портокали, мандарини, киви, грейпфрут, ананас, а другите храни за предпочитане от нас. Череши, ягоди, бурбонки и малини, а в големите жеги сочни пъпеши и дини. Сини сливичанки, праскови кайси, грозде, ябълки и сушени вкусоти. Обикалям всеки ден из градини и поля, щом зърна плодове нападам ги като ламя. О да, това е голяма лакомия, на дървото в екстаз, като лудо кучевия. Гнев ще се разбия, най-обичам директно от източника, аз да пия и не крия. Наблягам на суровата храна, но от време на време си приготвям варива. Ориз, пшеница, елта, просой и кинола, поръсени с подправки, но без сол и мазнина. Омазнявам само с цели храни, в малки количества, добре запомни. Няколко сурови ябки или семена, оставям ги да се накиснат малко във вода. Боб, грах, леща и любимия на худ, свръхдоза протеин, дори и за мамут. Мускулите тонизирам, но не вдигам железа. Във фитнеса не ходя, на лостове вися, натурално тренирам. Гледам да се веселя, по дървета се катеря, плодове бера, на моменти изпутвам с скейт под крака и не карам колело в някоя гора. Но щом настъпи лято, истината е една, на язовир пчелина плувам аз всеки ден. Душевно задоволство изпитвам вътре в мен, наблюдавам залезите и нощното небе. После лягам си да спя с усмивка на лице, така всеки ден за мен живота си тече по пътя на водата. Най-ми е добре, най-ми е добре, най-ми е добре. Елфригано, грижете се за себе си и за тези около вас.
So speaking about nutrition, some people will say there are different schools, there are different advices, so everybody is different, but this is a little bit in direction of radical relativism. So there are principles which are universal to every human being, and but let's explain in first where I am taking this information. So what are my sources? Like this, we can rely on some authoritarian and proved sources. So one of the criteria of truth in the integral approach for us is called historical criteria. So it is when the history is proven that some things work on a certain way. So in this case I invite you to read the book which is called The Blue Zones, Sini Zoni. So this is a team of scientific which are studying the communities around the world in which a big percentage of the population is living long, being very active and healthy, more than 100, even more than 110 years. And in fact, they want this scientific approach, so they go a team of nutritionists, sociologists, psychologists, and different specialists to study the people, and also where it is proven. So, because for example, there are some societies which are saying that they live very long, but they don't have papers to prove it, so these societies were excluded. And in fact, they study only 5 zones, and because they use just a blue pen to mark them on the globe, on the map, that's why it's called the blue zones, but there are only 5. So this is one zone in Costa Rica, one community of Adventist church in California, island Icaria in Greece, island Sardinia in Italy, and only the inner part, the mountain of Sardinia, island Okinawa in Japan. And so are they 5 now? Costa Rica, yeah, California, Okinawa, Sardinia, Icaria. And so all these people, about their nutrition, of all of this group, only one are vegetarian actually. These are the Adventists, they are vegetarians. The others, they are not vegetarians, but all of them, they have 96% or more than 96% plant-based nutrition. So they're not vegetarian, but they eat very small amount of meat. This is about their nutrition. Another source I'm using for this, it is Dr. Michael Greger, which you can check in internet. It's an American doctor who is having a clinic, and his team is more than 200 medicinal doctors, and they do studies with tens of thousands of people. So their method is basically very scientifically confirmed. About every part they do analysis and experiments which can be reproduced, so they are scientifically based. So these are the foreign examples so we take. From here we can point Vitarama. This is vitarama.eu or .bg. So this is a homepage of one project which is under the advisory of our Dr. Dimitar Pashkulev, who has edited tens of books on this topic, and tens of enterprises are making his products also. But here in Vitarama also they act now from a lots of years, I think more than 15 years. So there are also a lots of database which is with analysis proven, and they improve even state of people with diabetes, with cancer, if they arrive to follow the nutrition. And also, as we always remember, the 4 quadrants of Ken Wilber, so they need to believe in this, they need to obey and observe and follow the physiological guidance, they need to have the materialistic background, so let's say to be rich enough so you can follow this regime and to have a peace of mind about this. And of course for the social, the family of these people are supporting them, so their cultural environment is supporting. So always remember that it's not only about the body, it is very important physiological aspect, but also we need to have some kind of belief which is positive and simply working. Psychoregulative techniques here also to have materialistically to provide what we need, the quality, and to have the support of our near people. If one of them is not working, the heavy cases, they cannot improve. But also for people which are not heavy cases, this nutrition will. So the last example I will give after Dr. Dimitar Pashkulev and Vitarama and these big specialists, I will give myself as example, who I was having by the age of 30 already, having kidneys and liver problems because of excess of different type of cheese and sugars mixed with fat, the famous halva Bulgarian dessert I was abusing with amounts of this, and also all type of sweeties with trans fats, etc. So that's about my sources, and now let's go directly to the topic. So why we are eating, why we need to eat, can you tell me? And here
So
we will
can
write.
poop.
So we can poo. Okay, here we will leave aside also the emotional aspect, to be happy, for social, and this, let's purely physiological. I don't know if this we will write it down because it's not really related, because the poo is more like the yeah, the following the eating. But why we eat? Why do we need to eat? Why we just don't?
Energy.
Okay, we need energy. Very good.
Compose the ground.
To compose, yeah, to build our body, to compose, to create. Here we can say for the children and for the young people it is to grow, and for us it is to create the hormones, to create all the molecules which we need every day for the functioning of our body. So it is like maintenance. So these are different processes, maintenance processes. We can say also regeneration. We know that there are all the time tissues which are dying, cells which are dying, tissues which are regenerations. So what, very good, what we need for this process? What are the things we need? What are the nutritional factors we need?
We need protein, carbs.
We need proteins, very good.
Fats.
We need carbohydrate, I write CH, carbohydrate. We need fats, very good. These are the three big categories. And after?
Vitamins and minerals.
And vitamins, we have here a well-informed person. Minerals, okay, super important two categories which are sometimes underestimated. We need them in smaller doses than the first three, but they are very important.
We can go in a lot of details like salt, sugars.
Yes, salts are part of the minerals. The minerals, they are salts. We can here point the probiotics, the prebiotics, which are the food of the probiotics. And one category which is recently an object of lots of researches, and it's proven like really improving health. We can live without it, but we live much better when we use it. These are the phytochemicals. These are molecules which we take in very small amounts and which improve our processes, reinforce the immunity system. For example, the proanthocyanidin, things which are phytochemical contained in the vegetables and fruits which are with blue or violet color. We have also a lot into the flowers, so we eat a lot of flowers. So these are the main things which we gonna need as components. Here let's explain a little bit. So as you say, proteins, carbohydrates and fats, they are molecules. For example, the carbohydrates, they are long chain, can be like this, can be a circular chain, but these are the carbohydrates. So when it's something a lot, we call it polysaccharide, a lot. Then we have oligosaccharides, 2, 3, 4, a few. This is oligosaccharide. Then we have mono. So we have poly, oligo, and mono. Only one. Like monarchy, one king. Oligarchy, a few mafia guys. I will not say any state. And polysaccharides. Also, same for the proteins. So this is about the sugars, the carbohydrates. They can be polycarbohydrates, polysaccharide, oligosaccharide, monosaccharide. Also for the proteins we can have polypeptide, oligopeptide and monopeptide. So peptide, it is one part which creates the big protein. One saccharide creates the big sugars. So we eat the big ones and then we in the body we cut them into small ones, and then with these small ones we are rebuilding what we need. Can you tell me what are these two processes?
This
Here.
is the digestion of sugar into carbohydrates.
Which one?
The above one
This is the digestion of the sugar.
into
The digestion of the carbohydrates
carbohydrates, yeah,
into
what do you call it in English again?
carbon dioxide,
Carbon dioxide.
water, and we obtain energy. So this is the nutrition. When we eat carbohydrates, this is what enters and what goes out of the cycle of Krebs. So this cycle, which is into the cells creating. So in fact, this is in the energy factories of the cells. That's how we obtain energy for our body. Very good. What is the second? Yeah, of course.
From what I studied, actually, I'm not sure if this is the right process. So let's see if we're talking actually about the same thing. So the carbohydrate, when it's digested by the system, it turns into glycogen, and glycogen is actually what gives you the energy.
Exactly, we arrived there. Exactly, the carbohydrates, we need to decompose them into glucoses. The glucose is the monosaccharide, and then the monosaccharide glucose enters into the cycle of Krebs, which is a series of chemical things which are happening. We obtain the adenosine triphosphate, the molecule which is carrying the energy. But we arrived there. What is the second one?
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. Yeah, you are great. And what we observe of the two processes,
that they're the same, that they're reversed.
They are reversed. Yeah, if we do like this, then we have them both. So what is happening, in fact, what the plants are doing, they are consuming carbon dioxide, they are consuming water, they are receiving the energy of the sun, and with this they are creating carbohydrates. They are creating wood with which we build, creating wood with which we warm up, they are creating fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, nuts which we are eating or we are giving to the animals, and then we eat these animals. So, and they create oxygen. So basically this is what the plants produce, and then that's how we consume it, and we release it, and what we release is consumed by the plants, what the plants release is consumed by us. So these two things are the cycle of the carbon dioxide, the oxygen, the energy, and this way the solar energy, the sun energy, it is converted into energy we can consume, because the autotroph organism, the plants, they can live out of solar energy, and the heterotroph, the others, all of us animals, we need to consume, we cannot live on solar energy directly. I introduced it because we are a lot about carbon sequestration, so putting the carbon into the soil, etc. And just to be conscious of other thing, one of the process, it is photosynthesis, and the other process, it is burning. So the process of nutrition, it is the same like the process of burning. When I put wood in the stove, it is the same process. I put the wood, consuming oxygen, releasing CO2, and obtaining this heat, this energy. So we need to understand that inside us we are burning. This is the same process, and that the oxygen, it is very important. That's why it's also the importance of breathing. In fact, when we breathe, that's what is helping us to absorb the food. So if we don't have correct breathing, and this is also again confirming the importance of these breathing exercises, the exercise we do for the good capacity of the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, etc., which will spread the oxygen, which is important for the nutrition. So what we promote and what we are sure that it is the correct nutrition, it is what we call the carbohydrate based nutrition. Because you hear some people, they'll say keto diets, eat proteins, eat fats, don't eat carbs. And the experiments show the following: the people who enter in the keto diets, in the most of the cases, they are slightly sick and slightly fat in the beginning of the diet, and by the end of the diet they're a bit less fat and a bit more sick, and a few time after these diets they are very fat and very sick. Why? Because yeah, it's true that when we stop the carbs, then our body start dissolving the fats. In the beginning we get we lose weight, but in fact the body cannot live on this, because what we observe is that every cell, the only fuel of the cell, it is the glucoses. So all our cells, the only way for the human body to obtain energy, this is to transform the glucoses in the cycle of Krebs into energy. That's the way how we obtain energy.
They're also actually not losing fat, but they're losing water, because you store
in the beginning.
Glucose. Yeah, that's why people think it works, because you actually lose quite a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But that's because you store like one molecule of glycogen, which is a few molecules of glucose, with like multiple molecules of water. So you don't only lose the glucose that you're storing, the glycogen that you're storing, but you're losing a lot of water. So that's actually the weight loss.
Yeah.
Really fat loss.
And also to obtain energy from fat, it is much more difficult than to obtain to the glucose, because you need to transform it into glucose. And when you have excess of glucose, it turns into heat in the body. So actually, by eating, if you eat carbs, you cannot gain weight. They say if I eat carbs, I will get fat. No, it is because when you mix carbohydrates, when you mix sugars, low or fast sugars, with fat, because the body will take the energy directly from the sugars and will store the fat. That's why but this is what we mostly like. It's nice when it's in the same time sugar and fat. Come on, this is the best. But exactly this is the dangerous combination because of many reasons which we will explain there. So the idea of this nutrition is to have abundance of carbohydrates from natural origin and to have exactly the amount of proteins, fats. They are very good. Proteins and fats are good. Don't mistake this. And all the other categories we were pointing, to have exactly the amount we need. So to have, because the best of course will be to exactly consume the amount of what we need and to don't have any excess. But nowadays we are living in, most of us people on the planet, no, not most of us, in fact most of the people are starving, but most of the people who have access to this video are actually in societies of too much abundance of food, so we attempt to have more than what we need.
There's more people in the world that are overweight than there are people that are hungry, that are underweight. It changed in
Actually, they're overweight and hungry in the same time.
Yeah.
There are people even who die from cardiovascular diseases, but they have exactly lack of minerals, lack of vitamins, and etc. So yeah, it is complicated, and so this is the idea of this nutrition: to have abundance of natural sourced carbohydrates, to teach our taste. In the beginning, I was really loving, for example, Nutella chocolate, and here are coming even now children which are eating this Nutella chocolate, which is like life threat to consume this. But after, if you give to these people banana, it's not sweet for them because their taste is so much used with this extreme sweet. And for us, for example, we are with the time I arrived to learn at my body, a little bit sweet is sweet for me. So as you can see, we have in the morning oats, and with what we sweeten the oats, with apples, with bananas, and like this, the lightly sweet is sweet. Also the slightly salted, the slightly spicy, it is already giving the feeling of tasty, of we are satisfied. And if not, if you go in the other direction, it's endless. I know people who their dish will be white of salt, but they just need to increase the amounts of salt to achieve the same feeling, because it's like with every psychoactive substance, or most of them, we need to raise the doses. And this of course is very dangerous for the cardiovascular system. We retain too much water, etc. So this is the base of the carbohydrate nutrition, and we just need to retain that. To be healthy, we have I really like how Dr. Pashkulev is expressing. He say from his 35 years, which are almost 40 already, of medicine practice, he say he knows that 90%, 95% of the human health are just 5 things: to breathe clean air, to drink clean water, to eat clean food, to have a good sleep, and to have movement, enough movement. So all of these are providing 95% of the health. Like from the old methods of healing till the most modern machines, including the genetic heritage, including even the coincidence, all this, it's responsible of 5% of our health. So if we follow these 5 principles, we will be healthy on an easy way, and then we need to deal with the other 5% with all the other methods. And opposite, if we don't follow these 5 things, then we will have problems, even though if we use all the machines and all the supplements and all the medicine which we can have. And to remember that the health is based on 3 things. This is proper biorhythm, and we are daily animals, so we, as you can see here, when it gets dark we have very small lights, like this, the melatonin synthesis. We go early to bed, then we can wake up naturally early to do. The second are the morning practices, because in the morning we sensitize the serotonin and dopamine and the important hormones. So when we go to sleep early, then we have early wake up, we do the practices. So biorhythm, morning practices, and proper nutrition. When we do these 3 things, then it is providing the health. But let's be a little bit more concrete and just speak about one day. So what would be one day of universal, complete and proper nutrition? So for us, every time the day begins on the previous day by 4 in the afternoon. That's how we say. So it's good to have light and early dinner. When we have light and early dinner, then we can go to bed. Why we want this? Because one of the reasons also why this is so working is that the carbohydrates, when they burn into the body, they liberate carbon dioxide and water, which are products which we very easily, the body is exhaling and evacuating. And when we digest the proteins and the fats, the proteins, they liberate substances which needs to be proceeded from the kidneys, and they really produce toxins which need to be evacuated from the body organs on more difficult way. Same for the fats, they need to pass through the liver to go out. That's why in this carbohydrate nutrition we have a lot of what is easy to evacuate, the waste products, and we have just the right amount of the other things which are more difficult to evacuate. And also the liver and kidneys, for example, the liver, it is participating into digestion of fats, but on the other side the liver is cleaning the toxins of the body. Same for the kidneys, they need to clean other toxins of the body, which are deep toxins, which we have also from stress, from not clean air, and all these modern threats which we have. So if we eat the proteins and the fats and lunch, so on the evening we don't have proteins and we have maybe very little bit amount of fat with the carbs, then in the night the kidney and the liver, they can go in depth and to evacuate our toxins, which are the deep toxins. And if we eat lots of proteins and fats in the evening, then all the night our kidneys and our liver will digest this food, and then the next day again and again, and they will never arrive to in fact take the deep problems, to take these deep toxins. That's why we have light dinner, like this in the night, kidney and liver, they can first relax and second work the deep toxins. And then we wake up, as we say, we have our morning practice. First we hydrate, so to drink a lot of water. A lot, it means between 600 milliliters and 1.5 liters, depending how tall is the person, but it's important amount of warm or hot water. So water which is more than the temperature of the body, so more than 40 degrees, let's say Celsius, to be this water. And why we don't begin with tea? Because the body perceives the tea as food already. So the principle starts from the light to the more heavy things. So we begin with water, good amount of water. This is rehydrating the body, what we wasted in the night first. Second, it provides enough water to clean exactly the evacuation system, the kidney, so we go to pee, etc. We also go to poo. So our system, in yoga they say it's better than your shit wakes you up, that not you need to wake up your shit. So this is ancient wisdom. And Also, we have enough available water. When we do the warming up, we can fill the joints with liquid, because the synovial capsula are important to get full of liquid and to warm up in the day, so we don't create trauma during the day in our joints. So this is the reason we hydrate. So after hydration, we do our morning practices. Always remember the three categories: physical, for the body, for the hemispheres of the brain, and some type of consciousness practice. These are the three categories. And then we have under categories like moving the lymph, moving the joints, stretching, for power, for handiness, for some specific sport exercise. It's after this is surplus, but the minimum is to warm up the joints, to hydrate, to stretch a little bit, to balance our two hemispheres of the brain, and to do something for consciousness, which will long term retain the benefit of the first two categories. After this, it's the time, as it says, our friend is singing in the video, for the big breakfast, because the good of this nutrition is that we can eat a lot, and I'm a guy who is used to eat a lot. We were saying to Dr. Pashkulev, listen, our friend, we anyway overeat, we all have our emotional moments, we need to eat a lot. Just tell us with what we can overeat, which will be less harmful. And he even gave us a list of things to overeat. For example, cucumbers. They are so they are minerals. There's lots of water. They are low carbohydrate vegetables, so you can eat 2 kilograms of cucumbers, better than to eat 2 kilograms of cheese. You know, it will be very easily proceeded by the body compared to the heavy foods. Of course, any excess is good, so we need to be moderate, but still it's not always obvious. So we begin from the lightest to the more heavy thing. So after this food, this water, we can have tea, we can have our supplements. We'll speak later on about what supplements we take. After, we start from the fruits. We can have a smoothie, what we here have every day, which containing superfoods, amino acids like little BB pollen. We have this 30 component superfood from the doctor containing taurine, spices, carob, medicinal herbs, amino acids, easily digested, for example, from fermented proteins, etc. And fruits and things like aloe, really, but not everybody can have a smoothie like us. I, by the way, watch our video about how we do the smoothie like this. You can have it also. It's on the channel as well. But fruits, we begin for the more acid fruits, and then we pass to the sweet fruits. We avoid to mix acid and sweet fruits, so we can start with pomegranate, which you keep, it's still a process of evacuation. After we wait a little moment, we begin to more and more sweet fruits. Then after this abundant fruit breakfast, because what's important? The important is to have calories for the brain. Our brain consumes a big amount of oxygen, a big amount of the calories. So people who don't eat breakfast, lots of people, they come, they say, me, I'm not hungry in the morning. I ask, what you ate for dinner? Because if you for dinner at 9 o'clock in the evening, you have a big stack with fries, French fries or whatever. Of course, you will not be hungry in the morning. You just need a coffee to be able to move. But when we have dinner in 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you drink all of this, and you do 1 hour and a half of exercises, believe me, you will be hungry. So we eat a big amount of fruits, so we can provide these calories, we can provide vitamins, we can provide minerals, we have some superfoods, especially for some amino acids. And what's important in the morning, it is the omega-3. Omega-3, which will help the synthesis of serotonin. Because the morning practices, they are exactly around the sun rays when we synthesize these neurohormones, but then the breakfast is giving the needed particles for the body to synthesize these neurohormones. So 1 tea or soup spoon per person of chia or lean on flax seeds. But remember, the flax seeds and the chia, the omega-3 is very easily to turn bad. So if you buy powdered flax seeds, which are already in powder, very probably they are already oxidized, and they are already toxic. They are not good. So grind yourself. We have little coffee grinder here, which is a small mill, which we don't use for coffee, but you can grind your flax seeds, just soak them in water, or your chia, and have this in the morning with the fruit. So this is the minimum: calories, minerals, vitamins from fruits, and a little bit of omega-3. This is a king's breakfast. After, it is the best moment to do your intellectual work. After you do all of this, you will be very clever to sit and to write an article. It will take you 1 hour instead of 3 hours if you are in the afternoon. It's very good in this moment to learn to do intellectual work for 1 hour, and then after you can have physical work, and before this you can have a second breakfast from grains, because for some buddies like me, Boyan, probably you, we also like something more than the fruits, especially if we go outside to move stones and wood and all this. So we have second breakfast from whole grains. It can be buckwheat, millet, corn, oat, so whole grain, which is boiled. Boiled grains are better digested than baked grains. For us, as you can see, the bread is a luxury. We have bread sometimes, we have little piece of bread, but every lunch we have a big pot of some kind of boiled grains to provide the calories. So the buckwheat is very rich in amino acids, special minerals. Rice is very low in protein. It depends. What we use always whole grain rice. The buckwheat is always green buckwheat. It's very good to sprout it, etc., etc. This we can speak for days, but it's not the aim now. So this is the breakfast. Then we have a second breakfast if we need. And remember, the lunch is the main dish for the day. In Ayurveda, they say on lunch you can digest stones. Of course, it's not literally we can digest stones, but the digestion, just the human cycle is this, that on lunch we can digest better. That's why on lunch we eat the heavy food. In lunch we eat the fats, animal fat, animal protein, vegetable fat, vegetable protein. Our nutrition, what we propose, it's not radical. We don't say be vegan, be raw eaters, be this, be that. Our main importance is to be healthy. And to be healthy means to have more than 95% of plant-based or vegan nutrition. And then the other 3 or 5%, if you want to eat meat, eat this meat, no problem. Even though here we are vegetarians, we are not against this, because some people, they really need it, and better to do it than to do 3 months without and then to eat their cat or something. So, but remember, better boil it than fry it or bake it, because it means also fry it. So lower temperature, boil it.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, of course.
Is those 5% of
Animal
products why Bezopashko is called Bezopashko?
Now the cat without a tail, he was catched in a trap, and he came without a tail in very bad state, so we healed the doctor healed the cat, and since this it's a tailless Bezopashko cat.
But no one
Trap was like Philip's jaws.
Well, I have the chance to be vegetarian since a child, and I'm happy with this, but yeah, I do vegan periods, and then by the way, the orthodoxal fasting, it is about 250 days per year which are vegan, and then in the other 100 days I can eat some egg, but we'll see about the animal product after. So we arrived to lunch. Main meal. First, big salad. This is the principle. Have big vegetable salad. Spice it with spices, with vinegar. If you want fat, better to use the source of the fat. Better olives than olive oil. Better sunflowers than sunflower oil. Why? Because in the sunflower you have 60% fat, but then you have proteins, minerals, fibers, and the body is, from all this evolution, we have like 1 million years of evolution, and from a few centuries we extract oils. The body is much more better accepting the main source, so the sunflower, than the sunflower oil. Or if you want to eat olive oil, have some olives aside still. Combine the olive oil with olives. So we can have the fibers, the proteins, and the minerals of the olive together with the olive oil. Or even better, because if you take olives without, and natural olives are the best, because less chemistry in the transformation. If you take olives without the stones, if you pass them in the blender, it makes a fabulous olive pasta, which is, I don't know what is worse than the olive oil. So allow yourself to have this. Avocado, of course, is a perfect fat as well. So yeah, so we start the lunch with mixing the less heavy, which is the salad, with the most heavy, which is the fat. So we have a salad together with a sauce. For example, we soak sunflowers, which are 60%. When we soak them, they suddenly get 30% because they drink the amount of water. And then these slightly sprouted, soaked and washed sunflowers, peeled of course, we put them in the blender with spices, you know, with curcuma, with acid, with vinegar or little vitamin C, with some little hot pepper if you want, or curry. It makes the nice, what we call veganese, the vegan mayonnaise. So you have this sauce which is perfect for your salad. You can put a little bit of honey, make it really nice and tasty, using the 4 tastes: salty, sour, sweet and hot, a little bit of course, moderate. So it will be a perfect salad sauce. And then we have carbohydrates, which are the big pot for us, for me big, I don't have to be big, sorry. Just I really like it to be big, but this is we can use like buckwheat, rice, corn, any einkorn, or we prefer ancient varieties of wheat, because the modern wheat, they're up to 40% of very bad gluten, and einkorn is like 3-6%, or the gluten in the rye, in the old varieties of rye, is much more digestible, less allergenic, because you observe this phenomenon that people in Europe, there is a highly amount of a population allergic to dairy products and wheat. Just because from centuries in Europe we eat this. Very less people in Europe are allergic to rice. In Asia, you have very less people allergic to dairy products and wheat, and lots of people to rice, because they eat this from centuries. So we have to be careful with the traditional foods, because these are the most harming, in fact. Being moderate with them. So I combine this with proteins, which can be beans. Our main source of proteins are the plant-based proteins. Very good source is beans. If it's creating bloating, you cannot digest it, just take beans without shells. If you take red lentils, which is peeled, or they sell beans which are peeled, then it will, you see that you much less bloating. And of course, boil very well the beans. Throw away the first water, put a little soda if it's needed to base the acidity.
Sorry.
No, please.
I wanted to ask you is because a friend of mine, he mixed rice with lentils. He boiled them together, and it was very delicious. Would you recommend the combination like
Definitely, this ancient dish, dal, call it, from India and the Eastern tradition, it's because they accomplish the amino acids and the rice and like corn and beans, for example, Mid-American, Central American, or typical rice with lentils from Asia. These are, they make like synergy. These two foods, they create synergy, so the body is able to synthesize the amino acids and to really create. By the way, hemp, not to smoke, but to have the seeds of hemp, of the non-psychoactive hemp, are having all the amino acids and all the essential fats. So it is a myth that they are not in vegetable, in vegan, in plant-based nutrition. They are expensive if you buy them peeled, but we even buy them without peeling them. They are cheap, 2-3 euros per kilogram if you buy the hemp without being peeled. Put it in the blender with some water and then pass it through the strainer. And then what you have in the strainer, put it again in the blender with little water, pass it, and when you do 4 or 5 times, on the end in the strainer you have only the shells, which you can give to the chickens, so they can have also omega-3 in the yellow of the egg, and you obtain perfect hemp milk. Of course, we don't heat the omega fats more than 60-70 degrees, we always keep in mind. Walnuts for European people, hemp, these are foods which are very local for us. So this is the big lunch salad. The principle is to have 3 to 1. So if I eat 100 grams of or 50 grams of protein, this is huge dose of pure protein for a sportive like who is in the national team, then you need to have 3 times more fibers. So this protein can be properly digested. So really, even if you eat meat, but eat a huge salad with this meat, so this can pass better through the system. Same dairy products, eggs, all these things. We'll speak about them in a moment.
Can I have a question?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I heard someone say that my weight is 90 kg, which I think in LBS is like 210 lbs, and someone said that the lbs is the grams of protein you should eat every day if you're an active athlete. Do you know? I mean,
there was something, but right now I cannot remember it because I just understood it basically from Dr. Pashkulev. There was a stuff like this, but I cannot confirm or tell you this. Just especially for the heat, let's be careful with the proteins really, because they are really damaging the kidneys, which we need to use all our life, even when we stop being active sportives. And we have even recently so many cases of heart attacks from sportives, which are basically because of excessive protein. Yeah, so the important is how much you absorb and not how much you eat.
yeah, okay.
What's the reason why you throw away the first water of the beans?
To be more digest, lots of things. Also depends of which country they are grown, especially the rice. In some countries the arsene was used as during previous times. Now it's of course is forbidden, but it's staying in the soils. The rice is particularly food which is fixing the arsene. The beans also, as in Bulgaria we say, if you throw the first water you fart less. So they are this and they really need to be well boiled, the beans. They need to be very soft, so we see if we use these under pressure pots or if we really boil them a few times. But yeah, the principles, in the moment they start boiling, we throw the first water. So proteins, carbs, salad, fats, we have all the stuff on lunch, and lunch is the time to eat.
And for like rice and grains, it's enough to soak it overnight to get rid of the arsenic?
No, even for the millet I throw the first water. From the rice I for sure throw the first water, because particularly is consuming the arsene. I hope we don't have it in the soil anymore, but it needs to be analyzed in laboratory. For beans, for buckwheat, if I soak it and I really wash it well so the saponin they go away, I don't throw for the buckwheat the first water, the green buckwheat of course. For the corn, for the polenta, I don't throw the first water, but yeah, most of the things I put it aside. I add of course hot water, boiling water. I have my pot aside with boiling water. So this is the big lunch, and then in the afternoon we can have a slight afternoon breakfast, which is from juices or light foods. And for me personally this is the dinner. But there are people who cannot sleep if their stomach is empty, if they are hungry, and this is human. So the dinner needs to be light, to don't contain proteins. It's best to be based carbohydrates. So for example, the best is baked veggies. Just put some potatoes in the oven with some beetroot, some peppers, some carrots, and just bake this. We can bake it because there is no fat. You can put 250 degrees, don't worry. And then this bake it, you can put a slight sauce of avocado with water and spices in the blender, or again sunflower seeds or something. And when you spice them, it's very tasty. It's a good dinner. You have something in your stomach, and then it will be easy to digest. And the most important, your kiver and kidneys, your kidneys and liver, they will have less work in the night. We can have soup in, again veggie soup, but if we have too much liquids in the evening, then we'll maybe wake up in the night to go to the toilet. So baked veggies are a very good dinner. And yeah, early and light dinner, and then next day. So this is about one day. And then I just want to tell you a few things, few important points, and then we can just exchange. So one important point are the fastings. So even if we eat very healthy, actually the most long-living people from the blue zones, they all were doing periods of fasting during the wars without wanting. But if we do proper fastings, this is very good. It can be just sometimes to have one day on water, or even only not a whole day, but like for example to eat lunch today and then to skip the dinner, to skip the breakfast, and to eat lunch next day. just drink water. So this is just 24 hours. It's not really fasting because we nourish from what we have in the intestines, but we call it relax for the kidneys and the livers, relax for the stomach. So it's good to have sometimes periods like this. It's good sometimes to have, it's not just a coincidence that in all the Christian, Buddhist, Muslim traditions, they have fasting periods which are without animal foods. Like for example, the Orthodox fasting, we have 250 days in the year, before Christmas, before Easter, before St. Peter days, 40 days, every Wednesday and every Friday, when they are complete vegan. They don't add oil, they don't add sugars in the food, and so this is quite something. And we can, if it's too much to be on the water, we can have just on fruit juice, so we can have some calories, we can keep being active. There are different type of fastings. Remember, all fastings, they have beneficial and also destructive side. So our aim is to increase the beneficial side and to decrease the destructive side, because we lose minerals, especially if we are only on water, or even we also need to, after the fasting, to eat moderately, because it's absolutely counterproductive to make 2 days only water and then to eat like king food, because this will now I remember when I speak about the king, the Adventists, which are the one of the long living communities, they say breakfast, have a breakfast like a king, have lunch like a prince, and have dinner like a beggar. But their breakfast is after a few hours of work in the garden already, so they are really hungry on breakfast.
I know also one saying, it is like eat the breakfast alone, share the lunch with a friend, and give the dinner to your enemy.
Yeah, interesting wisdom. So the second thing I want to mention about, these are the animal foods. So a few things about the animal foods. First, about the dairy. Why we need to be careful, and when we need to eat only dairy products which are issued from organic agriculture, and this in Bulgaria is very difficult to access this. We need to know that most of the hormone, pesticides and antibiotics, they are fat dissolving molecules, so molecules which are dissolving in fat. So we spray with pesticide the grain, then this pesticide is in the grain, then we give this grain to the cow, and this cow is fixing this grain in the fat of the meat or in the milk, because the nature says the cow, the mother cow, is cleaning her body, her toxins with the milk. Because the natural law is better that the baby dies, because if the baby dies, the mother will have another baby probably, but if the mother dies, the baby will die automatically. So that's why we are the mothers, the mothers are cleaning the toxins with the breastfeeding. That's why when we buy butter, in this butter will be concentrated toxins from the animals, if it's not organic butter. So we need to be careful with the dairy products. Also, from the dairy products, we have lots of casein and methionine. These are amino acids which are good for people who grow, for young people, or for very active sportists, but they are very difficult to digest, especially for men, especially after the age of 40. So by middle age, we need to decrease importantly. So the highest content of methionine, it is into the egg, the white of the egg, and the meat, of course. So and also the other is the casein. Casein is in cheese, yellow cheese, white cheese, all this. So we have what we call izvara, cottage cheese, or this fresh cheese, which is not made, actually, you know, the original cheese, it's made with bacteria from the intestine of the babies, because you have a baby, you know, the baby or baby human even, it drinks milk and then it vomits something like between yogurt and cheese, because the babies, they have these things which transform the milk into proteins. So we use these bacteria to make cheese. But this is for the Ben Saduno says the milk is food for children, and the cheese is not a food for humans. This way he transferred the wisdom, but basically the things in the cheese are difficult to digest, to absorb, and they are difficult to evacuate from the body, the waste products. But when we speak about this cottage cheese, or izvara, paneer I think is one of the names, this cheese is made just by boiling. So I milk my goat, I boil the milk, and after you put it on a very 70 degrees on the end of the fireplace, and you add some lemon or some vinegar, and this is denaturalizing and then you put in a tissue and you obtain this kind of paneer, a fresh cheese, and then you have actually surovatka, which is the best protein. And here in the Bulgarian tradition was very...
Which is the best protein, the
surovatka,
izvara or the milk that's left?
The surovatka, the milk is better because there is no fat. Most of the fat is in the izvara. But what is in the Bulgarian tradition, we do the izvara and we conserve it for winter when the goats don't give milk anymore. And in the summer we eat the very absorbable protein because we need to work as peasants a lot. And in the winter we need more fat because it's colder outside. So these ancient ways to do the things, they were not, they were taught also, or maybe not taught, but proved by the time. Actually, when you speak about animal proteins, so if you buy the bodybuilder's food, they are 95% surovatka, this le petit lait, how we call it? Whey protein. So the whey protein, yeah.
Okay, so if you buy a milk from an old guy that stands in front of your building, like he got the,
the guys with the bottles.
Yeah. If you purchase this milk, can you do izvara and surovatka?
Yeah, you boil the milk, then you put it on on the electrical or on the end of the fireplace, and you put some lemon.
And for how long do you have to wait?
No, you turn just, and in the front of your eyes it turns into like parcauchta, like there are pieces inside, and then you buy one tenzuch from the pharmacy, one tissue, and you just throw this in the tissue and you lift the tissue and you attach it. And after you have this cheese, this paneer in the tissue. If you want it really look like cheese, you can put it between two plates with one stone. It will take out more of the water. It will be really looking like cheese. You can put a little salt, you can put little nuts, you can put spices inside. This super tasty. And then you drink the surovatka like I saw my miracle of this way doing about healing animals and really.
Why are you not having this in here?
I was used to have goats, but now we need 2-3 more couples in the community to have 2 goats. We are not yet
and you
having
don't
enough
want to purchase the milk?
We had milk, but now the goats, they stopped giving in the winter. Until a few weeks ago we were every week having some goat milk, but now they stop in the winter. So
okay.
I have a question. When you have this izvara shaped into a cheese form, and is it bad if you age it, for example, if you leave it in your basement?
the principle is fresher it is, better it is. So if you can age it to make it like cheese actually, and it's less digestible after. The Bulgarian way they do, it's when it's fresh, they put it in a jar and they boil it. It stays fresh for years in the jar because it's sterilized. After you open it in the winter, you have fresh paneer into the jar, and this with some soya sauce, and it's. But yeah.
What about mozzarella?
I don't know. In Bulgaria, we don't have mozzarella.
Because it's about the same process as making cottage cheese, but you reheat it.
You?
Reheat the cottage cheese, so you make it strong.
Yeah, the principle is that we need to be very careful with the heating of fats. We avoid heating, especially if we heat it. It's different to heat it in water, which will be up to 100 degrees. But we will speak about this now. So let's just finish the few important points and then we enter. So, and the other, so paneer from the dairy. Paneer, whey, you say?
Whey.
How is W?
W-H-E. Exactly.
Whey protein.
So this from the dairy. And the other, of course, we are Bulgarian, yogurt.
Oh yeah. You've tried yogurt, yes?
Yeah,
I mean,
all the summer we were doing. So
and you have yogurt in the Netherlands as well.
yeah,
But
so
Bulgaria, it's different.
the Bulgarians, they're very proud because we have this Basilicus bulgaricum, etc. But actually, sorry about all the Bulgarians, but even best than the Basilicum bulgaricum is kefiri, Basilicum kefiri. So the kefir is also very good, but we can have actually both the yogurt, the Bulgarian yogurt, and the kefir are very good dairy products, way to transform the milk. So these are the things which are good, and the principle also, because for me it's difficult, we have this cultural aspect also. So I call it the exceptions. You know, I will go once per month to visit my mother, and then I will have a little piece of cheese. This will not kill me. I will not blame myself or punish myself, but we just call it exception. So the idea is have 98% of this healthy nutrition, and then have sometimes an exception. But if it's 3 times per week, it's not an exception. If it's once per month, you can call it an exception, and keep it in small amount. And also the other principle in this nutrition is dilute the concentrated foods. So when you have, for example, dates, this is concentrated. But if you soak the date in water and then you mix it with the oats, everything gets less sweet. So it's not so concentrated. Or it's people laugh with me, but I go, for example, to my mom, I will have a piece of this pervert cake, you know, the real cake, the grandmother's cake, and I put it between 2 slices of bread and I eat it. So I dilute this super strong sugar into something, because if not, my taste will be used with so sweet. Then after I will go on the opposite. I will come back to times which I don't, because the sugar is really destroying the bones, and no matter if it's white, this brown sugar, it's slightly better, but it's really a dead for the bones. I can say it from own experience.
What does your mom tell you when you put a piece of cake between 2 slices of bread?
Like every mom, she is happy that her little boy is eating. So this about the dairy. Then from the animal we have eggs, which are the peaceful, because our chickens has no rooster, so we have not non-fertilized eggs. And the eggs for children, it's very good, the white. Just keep in mind that with the age it's difficult this methionine to be absorbed. It's a main allergenic. So when I eat, for example, a white of egg, if I don't add some betaine hydrochloride, I start having here, there is oligopeptide which are not leaving the stomach, which are leaving the stomach and digested, and then the body needs to evacuate this, so it's allergenic. But so for me, for example, I asked the doctor, I'm a 40 years old guy, 185, 70 kilograms with moderate work, but quite moving in the day. So for me it is half a liter of yogurt per week and 1 yellow of egg per week. This is what would be good if I need to be healthy, and then all the other to be plant-based. So this about the animal food. Then what I want, very important moment, it is about the trans fat. To speak a little bit about the fats, because this is reason number 1 of the mortality of human beings on the planet Earth. So this is not a joke. Our race, the human race, is suiciding ourselves. Maybe the climate will take us away first, but the other is really the taste. So we have the fats, and we know that the fat is having a head and a tail. That's how the fats are organized. And then if we watch from near, there is the head, and there is this tail. In fact, is composed of 3. And these are carbohydrate chain here, and so this is a chain of carbohydrates like this. There is one rule, is that the carbon, it is from 4th Valencia. So like the carbon has like 4 hands. It can always take 4 things around, and the hydrogen is only one, always 1 hand, shaking with the others. So this is fat, a part of this tail. When we watch it from even more near, it looks like this. So this is a carbohydrate chain, so it is called a polyunsaturated fat. These are what we call the good fats. So this is, for example, a virgin olive oil or olive itself. But then we put it in the pan and we fry some eggs with it because we really like the taste. And what is happening? It is hydrogenating. So the process of heating the fat, even up to 100 degrees. For example, I cook my lentils. The lentils are boiling. There is plenty of water. And I add this olive oil. And I boil the olive oil. Even on 100 degrees, it will hydrogenate. What will happen? There will come more hydrogen. It will come here. It will destroy this. Hop. It will come here. Then you come more hydrogen, it will come here, 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 everywhere. And this hop, hop, it will shake hands with the carbon. And this will be saturated fats or trans fats or hydrogenated fats. And this enters in the body. The intestine recognizes it as a fat, so it goes in the blood. And then the body doesn't know what to do with it. So it starts circulating, it's blocking somewhere. So our blood vessels, the diameter of the blood vessels is decreasing because they start being covered of trans fats. So when the diameter of the blood vessels decrease, we have high arterial pressure, we have cardiovascular disease, we have insultis, infarcts, and all this. It's interesting, but about 70% of dead cases on the planet are caused to cardiovascular diseases. Yeah, you have fats which are hydrogenated. Yeah, they take liquid fats, they take sunflower oil, they hydrogenate the sunflower oil, they create margarine. But there is also naturally hydrogenated fats, which is the palm oil. And when you go in the shop in Bulgaria and you see the biscuits, there are very, very few recently which are written with big letters without palm oil. And the palm oil, really keep in mind that we are paying the guys to cut the rainforests of Borneo, of these islands. I will never forget this video where all the forest is cut. There was only one tree and there was one monkey covered in blood, which the monkey was crying. This I will remember all my life, and that's why we really should avoid this, because this palm oil is killing us. It's killing also the rainforest and the biodiversity. It's really, we don't need to buy this and to support this. And every time it's written vegetable fat, it means palm oil, because the palm oil, it is the cheapest fat ever. That's why sometimes they don't want to read palm oil, they read vegetable fat, but this is in 99% it is palm oil.
Nutella.
Nutella, yeah. We have a few fats with which we can cook, because it's we want also to do something which the people, better to do something small but that everybody or most of the people they follow, than to do something super difficult and the people they don't follow. It will have less effect. So since the beginning we asked Dr. Pashkulev how we can cheat with all of this. So we have 4 vegetable fats, plant-based, which up to 100 degrees Celsius, so like this, less than 100 degrees, we can cook and they will not hydrogenate. So this is coconut fat, this is sesame.
Sesame is very delicious as well, and it smells very nice.
Especially try to do tahini instead of sesame, like you do your veggies first with spices, then you add water, and instead of sesame oil you just add the whole tahini with the minerals, with the proteins inside. It makes like a thick sauce. It's very good. And these are affordable and not expensive. And then you have the grape seed, the fat of the seeds of the grape and the fat of the shells of the rice. These are more expensive, but still it should not be more than 100 degrees. It means you can cook them in the presence of water. It means that if you bake a bread, if you put walnuts in your bread or sunflower seeds in your bread, you are frying these seeds, you're creating the hydrogenated fats. because the bread we bake in 200 degrees or more, and like this we create. So the bread, we avoid bread with nuts. Put vegetables in the bread, put spices, put fruits in the bread. You can make sweet, sour, very tasty bread, but don't put nuts in the bread. I know it's tasty, but this is dangerous. Also the butter, like the cow or the animal butter, also it's one thing which we can, for example, I was asking Pashkulev how I love fried eggs. Come on, I will not stop eating fried eggs. It was 10 years ago when I was trying to adapt. Now I don't think even about this. But he say, okay, take your pan and put little water inside and put some butter. So you melt the butter, but it is in water, and then break the eggs inside, make them with your spices. So it will look exactly your fried eggs. But if there is water, it will not heat more than 100 degrees. Instead of these eggs, which are really like in the doner kebab, when they are, you see, black and sparkling, 260 degrees everywhere. This is really cancerogen when you have burned pieces of butter, or I know it's tasty and crunchy, but yeah. So most of the things which are crunchy, chocolate, biscuits, there is palm oil, there is these hydrogenated fats, because the hydrogenated fats are strong. So the thing is this, one fat in the body of the temperature of body will be liquid or it will be solid. The fats which in the body temperature, when we eat them, they get liquid, they are better. The fats which are solid on 40 degrees or 37 degrees, be careful, because it's difficult to evacuate them. In the best case, you will have this, for example, you can come and touch it. This is a bowl of these fats which cannot be used by my body. It's staying here, but this is really the best to have it here or here. The worst is to have it around the heart or around the liver. It's normal to have a little fat around the organs, but not to have a lot, and to block the blood vessels. So this about the fats which we can cook up to 100 degrees. Just frying, we do like this, we just don't fry. But why we fry? Because when we put spices, they get dissolved in the oil. When we cook the oil, the essential oils, everything covers, it's opening the taste, it's so tasty, the frying. So we multiply by 3, so we use about 300% more spices in our nutrition, because paprika, I don't even know them, the fenugreek, we have so many, like savory, all this mint, all this thyme, all these things they are healthy, these are medicinal herbs, and when we put more, we have more medicinal herbs in the food. Like this we can achieve the same taste with more spices. So I do exactly like frying, but with no frying. So I put the veggies, I start turning them in the pan without nothing, I put some spices, I put little water or little soy sauce, and you cook them, and they are very tasty, but you add a little bit of water instead of a little bit of oil, and you add more spices. So we buy the spices in big, we buy the spices per kilogram instead of buying just 5 grams of spice in a plastic stuff from the supermarket.
What if you add the water and add the oil, just like you said, for the coconuts?
For these 4 oils plus the butter, it will be okay.
I mean, you can do the same technique like frying, but with a little bit of water. Yeah,
but be careful that the water does not evaporate in 1 minute, and then you keep doing it. Yeah. Okay. So this about, then just a little bit about, so we mentioned already the spices. The spices are healthy, are good, and now let's speak about the supplements. So supplements, it is one very area which is very manipulated, and also lots of people take supplements without needing or don't take at all. So to be vegan, to eat only oil and bread, it's not gonna work, you will not be healthy. But even for the people who are not vegan, for example, the B12, we have almost of everybody on middle age already have problems with B12, with magnesium, because of changed acidity of the stomach. So when we have a disturbed acidity, the B12 is destroyed in the stomach before to be absorbed in the intestine. So you can eat raw liver from animal and still have B12 deficiency. That's why we use a lot in the nose, drops of B12 or injections of B12. But for this we need to go to analysis. So we check so really once per year, or once at least every few years, check your state. but there are also some supplements which they're moderate doses which everybody can take without being sure that it will not be harmed. It's not difficult because it is A, B, C, D, E and K2.
G.
Here we have magnesium, we have potassium. So these are things which are really important. For example, potassium chloride and magnesium chloride. So vitamin C, vitamin B and vitamin K2, they are water dissolving vitamins, so we cannot overdose with them, they will be evacuated. For example, B12, if you want to take such a big dose of B12 that it harms yourself, you need to invest thousands of euros in B12. So it's not gonna happen easily. And then vitamin A, vitamin E, we need to D, they're fat dissolving vitamins, so we need to be careful. But for example, vitamin D, if you take, I don't know the dose is exactly in milligram, but we have one product here, Vigato. We take 1 drop between October and April, so in the winter months, and then do your analyze of vitamin D in the autumn. After the summer season, when you are supposed to be exposed on the healthy sun rays, if you are on the lower edge in the end of the summer, it means that till the spring for sure you enter in deficiency. So these are the vitamins we can be careful. Magnesium also, more than 90% people middle age, they have lack of magnesium because of especially alcohol, pregnancy, not unhealthy food, stressful life, not enough sleep, all these things. Magnesium don't combine with calcium containing things, don't combine with coffee. We need to put 2-3 hours aside from the coffee. It's okay to drink it in the evening. Potassium, we have over doses of sodium very often, and especially in the winter when we sweat less, we eat so many conserves, so we have too much of this. And you know they are in balance. When we have too much of this is washing away this. So think about having like this some potassium chloride or at least dietetic salt from the supermarket, which is a mixture of two. And make analysis and be careful about this. And now we're almost finished. For the end we will just present you the plateau of the complete and proper nutrition. So high carbohydrate fruit and veggies. It means fruits and vegetables which are rich in calories. You have pumpkins, potatoes, beetroot, carrots. These are edible chestnuts, bananas. All this it's sweet. These are the high carbs fruits and veggies. As you can see, it's an important part to eat a lot of this. Then the second, eat a lot of the low carbohydrate. We put it second because, okay, you can eat 500 grams of potatoes, but try to eat 500 grams of salad. It's not easy. That's why these ones are still first. But eat a lot. Here we have zucchini, cucumber, all the berries. We have here all the cabbages, cauliflowers, all these things. You can eat big amount of this with spices. It's very good. So these are low and high carbohydrate fruit and vegetables. The third category are the grains. So let's say the base of our nutrition are 5 things: fruits, vegetables, grains, beans and nuts. So lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, a lot but a little bit less grains because these are concentrated calories, etc. Then good amount, but still be careful about the beans, and then be careful about the nuts, but eat, you know, the good cholesterol in the nuts. Just have nuts, yeah. And then here we have spices and supplements. So this is the complete and proper nutrition, which is the plant-based, so 97%, and then for the other 3% enjoy. And now let's speak.
I made some notes for myself. I just want to check with you if you agree on that. So for breakfast, what I put is 1 liter of warm water, around 1.5 liters. tea after that, smoothie, sour fruits, sweet fruits, brain activity, as we discussed, and then something like, I put oats because this is literally my favorite breakfast.
Sorry, it's good, but if it's your favorite, okay, have it 2 or 3 times per week, but it's good sometime to change for more minerals for different.
Like what?
Yeah, buckwheat, for example.
Buckwheat.
Yeah, you can make polenta with sweet spices. What else? Einkorn, limets is very tasty.
Limets, elder.
Millet, even I do
Also.
sweet millet. Oh, quinoa, amaranth, the pseudo grains, they're very good.
But again, you can make it in a sweet way, like the
Yeah,
oats.
you boil
like
them, then you put about the spices, things like cinnamon and cardamom, they are really helping the absorption because they decrease the fermentation. You eat sweet fruits, but when you put some cinnamon and cardamom, they will be better digested, there will be no fermentation.
Okay.
Okay, after?
So I'm just putting the everything. Okay, so then we have for lunch, we have salad. After salad, we have carbs, some proteins, and fats. This is what we need to focus. Of course, this can be different every single time. Then for dinner, we have low on fat and protein. So mainly some veggies, basically, and salad. Would you say salad?
Salad is good, not huge amount, because it contains. Here we need to speak about enzyme. I did not put the enzyme as important thing. So sprouts and salads are very good because they contain enzyme. But the enzymes are waking up, so they are very good in lunch, so we don't get sleepy after lunch too much. But in dinner, it's good to have a little bit, but not like huge salad, because it's like waking up the salad.
We should have had this lecture the first day when I arrived, because every night I'm eating salad.
On your age and with your physical form, this will not destroy you for the moment.
And then for sources of protein, I just put whole grains, yogurt, whey, paneer, and just different type of beans and nuts.
Yeah, also one thing which is nice source of protein, these are the protein powders. For example, even we have this stuff, Boucher or something, which you can buy in Mr. Armand. So this
I don't want to get powder. Thanks.
Okay.
I want my body
Just
to
this
digest
is a way where they have sesame and they extract all the oil out of the sesame, so you have only the minerals and the proteins. This is very good. They have pumpkin seeds, they take away all the oil, actually it's staying. These are very good things.
Yeah. So this is what I put basically for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and of course I will keep in mind everything that you mentioned, like the way we cook it, less sugar, less salt, no frying, baking over 100 degrees without nuts, etc. So would you agree, like this type of structure, like breakfast, lunch and dinner, it's okay?
Absolutely okay. Just with the salt, like salt is important, it's
Yes,
not an
yes.
enemy, and be careful where you are, because now you go in India and they use sweat a lot, so you need more salt there.
They use what?
You sweat a lot, so or when you have a super training, you need more salt than when it's winter and you stay in the front of the computer.